Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. This is Around Midnight Somewhere, the light edition. I am Joe Carbonetta, and I have Todd Fluker here with me tonight as well. Todd, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everybody?
How you doing tonight?
We're doing all right, I think. I think we're doing all right anyway. I don't know.
I mean, can't complain, right?
Well,
things are going pretty bad out there.
Well, I guess it depends on your point of view. At least apparently the looting has stopped. And although COVID cases are back on the rise again since all the protests. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we're breaking even. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we are live. If you are watching tonight being Thursday, June the 11th, and if you want to join in on our conversation tonight, you can give us a call. That telephone number is area code 951-356-6882. That's 951-356-6882. And we'll talk to you. And you can tell us how wrong you think we are, because it seems like that's what most callers do. They call and tell us how wrong we are. Isn't that right, Todd?
It's a national pastime.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, gosh, I mean,
that's kind of the problem with this generation. I shake my fist at the kids. These kids, all they do is just sit around and say how people are wrong instead of actually doing anything to change it. Well, I don't know. Maybe, I guess you can't say that now because, the kids got up in arms and went out and, made something happen.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, and before I forget, before we get too deep into this, you can also get a hold of us on our Twitter handles, because I guess, well, no, we didn't want to be anything like Trump. But still, I'm at Joe Carbonetta, and Todd is at Todd Fluker, so you can always contact us. And Todd, do you even reply to your tweets? I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Anytime somebody tweets me, they're my newest best friend. Speaking of my new best friend, we got a guy named Velcro Fathom on the YouTube chat saying something about the greatest generation. Oh, those were the days.
Velcro Fathom, did you say? Velcro Fathom.
Yeah, that's his name. He's probably a millennial.
Wow.
Wouldn't it be cool? That actually would be a good name. I'm going to name my kid Velcro. Awesome
well,
invention.
yeah, and we'll see if that sticks.
Oh,
wait, where is it? Oh, there we go. All right, there we go.
You should have been getting that ready when you knew you had that chambered.
It's just
You're like, oh, this is gonna deserve the hardest drum rolls.
There's just too many buttons to keep track of now. I'm telling you, man. I am working like triple overtime here with everything that between switching the video, switching the audio, all this stuff. It's too much. It is too much.
Yeah, and it's not going to get much better tonight because lacking our third co-host, there's going to be less fill time for you to say, hey, you guys talk amongst yourselves because it's just me.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true, yeah. I mean, who are we going to argue with tonight?
Todd, vamp for a while. I really, OBS is trying to do me dirty.
Speaking of which, again, if you want to join our conversation tonight, give us some fill time. You can give us a call right now or anytime during the show, that is. 951-356-6882, 951-356-6882. But don't call us collect. We won't accept the charges. I just thought I'd throw that in there,
Velcro's chiming in again. He's maybe he's the person who invented Velcro. Maybe that's why that's his YouTube username. He says
Uh,
loops and hooks. You know, it really is amazing how Velcro works, isn't it?
uh, I I never gave it that much thought, Todd. What I'm kind of concerned about you, how much time you have if you're sitting there thinking about Velcro.
Man, have you heard of those weird ASMR videos that people love on YouTube or wherever kids watch videos nowadays? It's all about sound, and then people they get all up on the mic and they whisper, and then they get something crunchy, and they go crunch, crunch, crunch. Wait, crunch, 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 crunch.
No, no, I have not heard of this at all. And again, I'm concerned about how much time you spend on things that you have time to look at this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just like people that watch, streamers streaming a video game on YouTube and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, how much time do you have? That if I had that kind of time to spend, I would go play my Xbox, not watch somebody else play their Xbox. I got to get them achievements, baby.
Well, all right. So on a slightly more serious note, and I don't know why I do this, but um, as I noted closer to the top of the show, the violence, I guess, is starting to subside. There is not so much. In fact, there has been virtually no looting recently, which is a good thing. I'm super happy to hear that we are past the looting stage, and businesses are beginning to take down the plywood. They're sweeping up the mess. They're starting to reopen. Um, at least that's what the mass media would have us believe. And so it's starting to look a little bit more like normal again, save for everybody wearing the masks, and of course the fact that there are still a lot of protests wandering down the street. But now it almost seems as though the pendulum, once it got swinging, has really started going way across to the other side, and it's not stopping. I don't know if you've been on top of any of this, but suddenly we're taking political correctness to new heights again. It was just announced that HBO is pulling Gone with the Wind from its on-demand lineup. It's not going to be gone forever. I have to say, it's not going to be gone forever. At least that's what they're telling us. What their intent right now is to take it down so that they can modify it so that it has somehow some kind of historical context the next time that you see it. And there'll be a disclaimer telling everybody how wrong everything depicted in it was, that it was wrong then and it's wrong now. And while I don't
Oh.
disagree that it was wrong then and wrong now, do we really need to tell people this?
There's gonna be a trigger warning on everything now. I can just imagine what that would look like. Like, is it gonna be like a pop-up video of all movies nowadays? Anything that was made before 2015 is gonna have trigger warnings and pop-ups that say, "Oh, watch out! This guy's about to hit a woman. Oh, you might get triggered. Oh, this person's gonna smoke. Oh, you might get seventh hand smoke in your lungs just by watching it on TV."
You know, something that I thought it was going too far personally when they started putting the warnings on things like a hairdryer saying, hey, don't use this near the water because you might get shocked. I thought that was bad. Or the warning that said that the little silica gel packet inside your stereo or whatever was not to
Yeah,
eat.
it's
Um,
not a snack that came with your speakers.
exactly. And now we've got to tell people, hey, slavery was wrong. Really?
Well, I mean, as much smack as I would like to talk about people needing a warning on their hair dryer, I was just talking to my wife yesterday,
Uh-oh.
and we got a new modem for the house, and I had to swap it out and put in the new one. And we have the little like range extender plugged in our house to get the Wi-Fi from that side of the house to this side of the house.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, it's not really working. I need to, take it down and reconfigure it or something like that." And she was like, "Configure it to what? Doesn't it just get the internet from the electricity?" I was like, "Yes, hon,
Oh,
yes, it
no.
does."
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Um,
I mean, some people just don't put two and two together.
yeah, I have to ask, is your wife watching the show right now?
I hope so. Oh, it's very hilarious.
Oh, yeah, hilarious. That's exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. Oh, oh,
Yeah,
I don't
we
know
could,
if I want to be around for that conversation later.
yeah, maybe we can get some calls. Get her to call in. Hey, what do you think about that?
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Let's put the phone number back up again then. So if you want to join the conversation, I don't know if we've ever said your wife's name on the air, so I'm going to refrain from saying that. But Todd's wife, if you'd like to join in the conversation right now and explain how you thought that the internet comes over the electricity, you can call us at 951-356-6882. That's 951-356-6882. And you
I
two could
mean,
be on the show tonight.
yeah, another thing about political correctness, I was just reading some other things on Twitter. Apparently, Medusa is trending right now because people are, I don't know what you call it, debating what happened to the character
What
from
is
Greek
what?
mythology of
Oh, I was going to say, what
Medusa.
is Medusa? But we're actually talking about the Medusa of Greek mythology.
Yes, the actual, that's not what somebody, some celebrity named their daughter. That would be awesome,
Oh,
though.
yeah,
Oh,
that
man.
would that I'm surprised that hasn't happened already. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact. Okay, all right, all right.
But yeah, I think people are literally going online and, I don't know, decrying what happened to this character, that Medusa was raped by Poseidon, uh, because of, I don't know, the other Greek gods were jealous of her beauty or something like that. I don't know really what the story is, but yeah, people are all, what do you call it? Virtue signaling, just being like, "Oh man, that's pretty messed up."
Okay, wait. Is this part of the Me Too movement, or is this part of the Black Lives Matter movement? I'm lost now.
Uh, I mean, why not both? Throw all the hashtags at it.
This
That
is
way
where
you
I
get
do
the most
the.
traction. No, I don't know. I don't know if they. Yeah, I think it's just hashtag Medusa. People are just chatting. I mean, maybe this is your Greek mythology teacher from City College. This is like their Christmas.
Again,
They
I'm
get
gonna have to go to the.
they get to go online and chit chat with people, real people. Usually they're just talking to Jason of the Argonauts.
Isn't that a band? There's Maroon 5, and then there's Jason and the Argonauts. Isn't that?
Is
No,
it really a band?
I don't
No, that.
know. I don't know. I'm just talking stuff.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. But no, I
maybe
think
maybe we should start a band and call it Jason. But I don't know. Then would we have to do like a religious kind of music or something? Would that be like a Christian band, Jason and the Argonauts?
Greek religious music.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess so. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I guess you're right. Anyway, so going back to more along the lines of the original topic of conversation, which was the fact that they are talking about removing Gone with, or actually have temporarily removed Gone with the Wind. There is also a chime in, if you will, from one of the creators of the show Friends. I'm wondering if you recall that show, Todd.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
friends with the best.
Well, see, apparently somebody pointed out that maybe Friends, all episodes of Friends should be yanked off the air now also, because they weren't really culturally diverse in the first several seasons. It's all a bunch of white people. And so, if we're going to yank down Gone with the Wind, then we should pull Friends, because Friends is on, I don't know how many different channels across your cable network on any given day at any given time. But even the one of the creators has now come out and said that they never really gave it any thought before, but are terribly they feel terrible about the fact that there wasn't more cultural diversity in the group of friends in the original television series. And again, I find myself wondering, when are we going too far? Are you saying that it's just not plausible that a group of people that got together and became lifelong friends just happened to all be white? I mean, I'm not saying that they couldn't have had a black friend or a Mexican friend or whatever, but why is it beyond plausibility that it could just have happened by fate that it was a bunch of white people?
I mean, I feel like they're going more for, yeah, it's not reality, obviously. So they're saying, hey, we should try to do our part for this community that is, in dire straits right now. I mean, I was just watching another funny video where a stunt guy was breaking down, fight scenes for a bunch of different movies and stuff like that. And he was talking about,
You watch a lot
hey,
of TV,
you're
don't
not.
you, Todd?
I got that kind of time on my hands. I guess I do have that kind of time on my hands.
I hope your boss isn't watching the show also. That would definitely be a problem right now.
But yeah, he was just saying how, hey, this isn't reality, this fight scene in the Bourne Supremacy. Actually, he was saying the Bourne Supremacy was like one of the more realistic ones, but like the Jackie Chan movies or the Matrix movies, he was saying, you're not actually going to throw that many spinning crescent kicks in an actual fight. But, it makes things a lot more interesting. And, I guess that would make things more interesting in the Friends setting. I mean, they did have the one black girlfriend,
Yeah, Aisha
face?
Tyler.
Ross.
Ross had a black girlfriend in one of the later season episodes. For I think it was half of the season that their relationship ran on. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Aisha Tyler was the actress that portrayed his girlfriend.
Yeah. I mean, but you can certainly see. I've heard this argument before that in these white people, these 6 white people never run into any black people in all of New York. This is nothing new. People have been saying this for years that show was a little on the light side.
Is that what we're calling it? The light side, huh?
I mean, yeah, maybe even that kind of has a connotation of light being good and dark being bad. I remember I was just saying some weird saying the other day. I was saying, once again, I was trying to deal with the city and all this stupid crap with our building. And I was like, hey, since our plans were like approved 3 years ago, can't we get grandfathered in on this for some reason? Because there's some new zoning laws that we need to abide by. I'm like, can we get grandfathered in? And Kelly was like, oh man, I read that, that term grandfathered in is like a super racist term.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Slavery and
are you
the
kidding
slave
me?
having children, and then their children are then owned by the slave owner who owns them. So they're like grandfathered in, or so. It was something along those lines. And I was like,
sounds getting too rough for me.
Yeah, I was like, if that's true, that's a new one on me.
Well, let me ask you this question. Just out of curiosity, because I happen to know that there was a time period where you at least watched Friends once in a while. Not because it was your first choice for programming per se, but because a member of your family liked to watch the show from time to time. Did you ever find anything offensive about the program at the time? I mean, did it ever strike you, oh, look, these are all just white people?
Of course not. I was a child. But how long ago was that show on the air?
It's still
years?
on the air. That's the thing. It's still on the air now. I'm not sure it ever actually went off.
I mean, that's some of the problem is that representation is a problem. And actually, we have a YouTube viewer who's chiming in on the issue. CJ to the D. I don't know who that is.
He should have called in. Actually,
He's saying, amazing how people have time to address imaginary injustices when there are real problems not being addressed.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's true.
But I mean, that's, it all, that's what people are saying nowadays is that it's all rolled into one large issue is that, yeah, people aren't being represented on the air. You don't see, little Asian kids don't see Asian people on TV. So they don't
Well,
know
wait. What
that
about that
that's an
television
option.
series Fresh Off the Boat?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now is a time where you're seeing more representation than ever. And I feel like, you know, uh, back in the day, you didn't see that kind of stuff.
Huh.
You might see that one. What's the politically correct term? Dwarf.
Uh,
For
wait.
I was just thinking about.
What are we talking about now? I'm sorry, you lost me.
Sorry, I was gonna go off on a weird tangent.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want
Well,
to say midget because I know
we've
most
come to
people don't
expect that.
like that term.
We've.
But I was like, that's the most diversity you'd see on TV back in the day. Is like on the not the Love Boat, the Fantasy Island. You'd see that. That
Oh
one
my goodness! Seriously, are we really going there now?
It was a long stretch, but I was gonna go for it. Ugh.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Me and my brain don't get along. He's always getting me in trouble.
So yeah, I mean, that's what what our little black kids, our little Asian kids, our little girls going to think that being president is a possibility if all the uh, all the politicians you see are men, mostly white. And what are you gonna think?
Well. All right. To that end, I gotta bring up yet another topic of discussion, I guess, and that's that all the generals are coming out of the closet, as it were, now to talk about the fact that evidently Trump is just not a good person in general. They are very unhappy about his use of military force to clear the area for his photo op over there in front of the church. I don't know if you've been keeping track of that in the news, but there have been several generals that have come out now and said that they're unhappy with the way Trump handled that situation. And of course, Trump, that is portraying himself as a law and order president, and he's also mean-mouthed every one of those generals, claiming that they were substandard and are no longer in their positions because of subpar performance and so on and so forth. The typical Trump rhetoric. What I found very interesting, if you think about it, is that Trump was very quick to call on the governors of various states to bring in the National Guard to sort of quash all of these protests, saying that it was a real issue. And then, of course, he basically trampled on everyone's First Amendment rights for his photo op in front of the church. But at the same time, I don't know if you recall this, a few years back, there were a whole bunch of protests going on, and then these white supremacists came out and counter-protested, and Trump wouldn't even denounce the white supremacists. But I never heard him call for the National Guard in that instance, and I'd like to know what all the Trump supporters would have to say about that.
Well, yeah, that was like his famous line about that was there's good people on both sides. He didn't even go, yeah, he went nowhere near the saying that they were, not welcome and needed to disperse. He actively seemed to encourage it.
Yeah, that's 100%
really
correct.
leads you to wonder, where does his base actually lie? Is he worried about alienating that much of the voter base that he counts on for his election?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to know how that was supposed to go down.
I mean, yeah, and that also reminds me of the story I was hearing about what is it? What is the deal with the Confederate flag now being like illegal to fly?
Well, it's not that it's illegal. There was discussion in the news that NASCAR and this has been a long time coming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm really sad that they didn't do this a lot sooner. I would like to have seen it done a long time ago. But NASCAR has announced that the Confederate flag is no longer welcome to fly by anyone, basically, at a NASCAR event. And I say kudos to them for that. I'm actually starting to really enjoy NASCAR again. Now, my problem with this is that what it took to get that to happen was there is actually just one full-time driver of color in NASCAR, and he brought up the point of the negative aspects of the Confederate flag and asked NASCAR, why is this still being flown? And NASCAR didn't have a good explanation for it, so they finally turned around and said, we really should stop flying that.
You know what? You got a good point.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting that you bring that up, because then let's flip back to my favorite person to complain about.
Yes.
President Trump, because people pointed out, and again, one of the generals that he denounced, who was also a man of color, pointed out that we have several military bases that are named after Confederate generals. And we should rename those, because these are men that actually fought against the United States of America. They fought against the Union. Why would we glorify their names with military, bases? And Trump flat out said that his administration would never consider renaming those bases.
We will make America great again. No.
Part of me wants to applaud that, because I don't know, the whole deal with tearing down statues and whatnot, is that really going to make a difference to people today? Is putting a Band-Aid over our history going to change how people feel about, I don't know, people saying it's, encourages, the racist culture of the time? I don't know what exactly the argument is. What? I mean, yeah, you could say it's all a part of the old kit and caboodle. That's another saying that's probably super racist.
Well,
But
I got to stop you right there. I'm really surprised that you would call that putting a Band-Aid on a situation. In this instance, I don't think that that's a Band-Aid kind of maneuver. Honestly, I really see this as something that's a long time coming. It's long overdue. It's not we're just going to do this and then, well, at least I hope it's not that we're just going to do this and then hope that it all fades into the background. It's a symptom of a larger issue, and all of it needs to be denounced. It's like saying, hey, we're going to take down Gone with the Wind because it depicted slavery and it put persons of color in menial positions only. And we're going to put that into historical context, and we're going to denounce it before we put it back up and say, this should never have happened. But at the same time, we're going to leave military bases that glorify the name of Confederate generals? I don't see that that's a Band-Aid.
Well, I'm not sure I equate the whole thing as equal. Yes, the Confederate flag thing, I feel like that could be seen as, I don't know what the term is, a bit pervasive if it permeates so much of, maybe these southern states where you do see this symbol of the Confederacy everywhere, where it's going, where the driver quit NASCAR because he can't fly his Confederate flag. That seems like a weird hill to die on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that one. I wouldn't want to be the guy taking that stand. That really does seem kind of dumb.
I can see disagreeing with it possibly, but you're gonna give up your job in this day and age willingly?
Well,
wow.
Like you said, it's one thing to take a stand about something you believe in, but I wouldn't of all, you pick your battles, and I would not pick a battle over the Confederate flag. I mean, I have no desire to fly the thing in the first place, but that is definitely not the battle I would pick to stake my career on.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near that thing. What's this guy's name? Ray Ciccarelli?
Uh, uh,
Yeah, I just saw the tweets. I just saw the hilarious tweet where, it was like NASCAR itself was replying to his tweet saying that this season was
Look
going to
at
be his
this guy.
last. And they, and they were just ripping on him like this guy has never won a race. They were like, "Oh, I'm sure your dozens of fans are going to be super mad about this or super hurt." You're like, "Wow, they're keeping it real over there."
well, I just don't understand. Like I say, it's something that has actually always bothered me. Now, that didn't stop me, I have to say, that didn't stop me from watching NASCAR. I've never actually gone to a NASCAR event, but it didn't stop me from watching it on TV. But again, I always did find it a little uncomfortable that they would choose to still use that symbol. And I do recognize that there are people that just see that as an emblem of life in the South, but unfortunately, I don't see how you can disassociate life in the South from the slavery and the other issues. And so, it seems to me that it's a part of history that really just shouldn't be celebrated. It should definitely never be forgotten, because they often say that those who forget their mistakes are doomed to repeat them. But it's not something that I think we should be celebrating in any way. And every time I see that flag, it just feels like a celebration. So to that end, I then have to ask the question, what's next? Are they also going to, not that I've seen very many of them lately, but I know that Country Music Television was running them for a while. Are they going to yank all the episodes of Dukes of Hazzard off the air completely now? Because, I mean, that thing was littered with Confederate flags. I mean, the car was called the General Lee. It had a big Confederate flag painted right on the top of it.
Yeah, literally every episode, I'm sure the Confederate flag was conservatively in 80% of the show.
Yeah.
Like every shot
And
almost had the Confederate flag in it.
that was all white people too, So I mean, seriously, what are they going to do? I guess that show's gone. We'll never see that again.
Yeah, I mean, the way streaming shows or streaming platforms are going nowadays, everybody's clamoring for every bit of content they can get their hands on. HBO Max has, that's probably where this came from. Is this probably, people haven't watched Gone with the Wind except for, Nana watched it on TMC or whatever, once every, Sunday, on the weekend or whatever. But now it probably was streaming on the new streaming service, HBO Max. And now they're like, all these people are just getting kind of fresh woke eyes on it, so they're like, oh man, we gotta second guess this whole thing. I mean, I've seen this before previously on old Warner Brothers cartoons where they had some ultra racist stuff going on, especially some of those wartime cartoons.
Oh, well, yeah, you have to understand. Again, you have to put it in historical context. Yes, Bugs Bunny had very racist overtones. He was very anti-Asian culture in those original cartoons. But it was also the middle of World War II, and we were fighting the Japanese.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
again, historical
so
context.
I've seen those those cartoons coming nowadays where they have a warning on them saying basically what you're saying, like this is a piece of history. Warner Brothers as a company, they're just trying to cover their butts for the most part. We can't condone this and condone that, and hey, this happened, but
But are we going too far with that now? Are we? I mean, do we really need to tell people that? I mean, maybe we do. Maybe we do need to tell people. Apparently, somebody really needs to tell Trump. At least that would be my impression lately, because he just doesn't seem to get that message.
Yeah, somebody needs to let him in on the joke, because so far all I see is the joke is on him. Because
No, the joke is on us because he's still in the White House.
Yeah, that's but seriously, there was the Daily Show clip. I was just watching a clip of the Daily Show where they sent one of their reporters out to the Trump rally that just recently happened, and It was just a clip of them saying some of the dumbest things you've ever heard a person say.
Oh, you gotta share some of this.
No, they're just like, oh, this whole impeachment thing is BS. They gotta do away with this. Oh, you gotta stay informed. You gotta read the whole transcript. And they're like, did you read the transcript? Oh no, I haven't read the transcript.
Yeah, couldn't find that on the Twitter.
Yeah, and they're like, oh man, and they were like, oh, this guy, he's so, he talks so roughly to the lady. He's talking about grabbing him by the peas and whatnot. And they're like, oh, do you talk to your, daughter, your mother, your whatever like that? Oh, no, I don't talk to people like that. But, Trump doesn't. I love it. Oh, it's great. He could do it. It's fine.
Hmm.
Oh, man, it is just crazy. They literally, there's nothing you could say to change their mind.
Uh,
It's just plain and simple, cut and dry. Just stop trying to change their mind. It's not going to happen.
well, yeah, it does seem like we have a long way to go. I'm kind of curious. I noticed that we had a comment or two from CJ to the D, and we've stayed talking about Trump, and I brought up the whole thing about how Trump never tried to put the kibosh on the white supremacist protesters, and we never heard from CJ D again. So
Yeah, funny how that works. Sometimes his boy Trump is just indefensible.
oh,
You just gotta let that slide.
did you just call him his boy?
I mean, they're obviously boys. He defends Trump at every turn, right?
He does seem to do that, which always leaves me scratching my head yet again.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, yeah, you can understand where he's coming from.
Can you?
Well, now you done riled him up. CJ is jumping on the chat.
Oh, he is. Okay. All right.
One man won't stop racism. It's person to person.
Well, I completely agree that one man alone cannot stop racism. But when that one man is the leader of the United States of America, and as a leader is supposed to set the tone for the nation, and I mean, we've never seen blatant, so much blatant racism. Well, I shouldn't say we've never. That's wrong. That's definitely wrong. I mean, you go back to the 1960s, it was pretty blatant,
Yeah.
any of that. But I mean, in modern times, in the last decade and a half, we've not seen open racism the way we've seen it in the last few years. Would you agree with that, Todd?
I mean, if you ask certain number of people, they'll say, racism hasn't changed. It's just being filmed. That's so. I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, see, the thing, like you said, it's just being filmed now. But I think the racists were always there. Don't get me wrong. It's just that they felt. I'm not even sure I would use the word shamed, but they felt like they needed to stay in the closet. Now they don't seem to feel like they need to be in the closet anymore. Somebody told them it was okay to come out into the sunlight.
Well, CJ just needs to call in. He's really hitting it with a barrage
Oh,
of chat now.
oh, what's he saying
Why
now?
do people think he is acting autonomously? Obviously, Trump is acting super autonomously. Everyone in his staff has told him repeatedly to stop almost everything he loves to do. He loves to tweet. He loves to say dumb things in rallies.
Well, except
He
for
likes
that
to
puppet
make
Mitch
up
McConnell.
facts.
That puppet Mitch McConnell just goes, yes, sir, whatever you want, sir. Oh, okay, yes, we'll do that, sir. Okay. That was a
And now you're
terrible
saying-
impersonation of Mitch McConnell, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I guess. And now he's saying he represents what America's actually feeling. Like it or not, nice to see you woke up to that reality.
Huh. Well, I wouldn't say that I ever wasn't awake. But speaking of realities, now this is another thing that it just kind of made me laugh earlier today. I happened to be watching one of the local news channels here in the Southern California area, and they were talking to a woman, an author who had just written a book talking about kindness as a hidden superpower that we all need to explore. And I sat back and I scratched my head. Kindness doesn't have to be a hidden superpower. They used to teach something called common courtesy. Does anybody remember the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have done to you. I mean, when did that fall out of fashion? And now we want to talk about kindness like some hidden superpower. Well, I never stopped being kind to people. I never stopped treating people like I want to be treated. That's the way I was raised. But evidently nobody else got that set of instructions. I mean, did I miss something?
Come on, the 80s is the me generation. Everybody's all about me, right?
Maybe. I don't know. They did say that there was the conspicuous spending and that kind of thing, the instant gratification. And I was much younger in the 80s. Maybe I was a lot more naive, but I don't think that people were so self-centered as they are now. But even that doesn't explain how nobody knows how to treat other people like human beings anymore.
Yeah, it is really an issue. I'd say, I struggle with it a bit. I mean, I like to think I'm a more pragmatic person, but I do feel like I need to be more personable to people in real life. Like, just go. I'm going to work to do my job and then come home. I'm not there to make a bunch of friends and chill out with people and sit around the water cooler and discuss the latest episode of Friends. And
Wait.
how there are no black people in it.
You just talk about how you have a lot of free time on your hands. You must spend plenty of time at the water cooler.
Yeah, the free time I have, apparently I spend on YouTube and watching things. But
You watch this show a lot, right? You watch this show a lot on YouTube?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I feel like people need to realize that, a little bit of friendliness, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. Being nice to people isn't just, a fleeting thing that just goes away the second it's done. It is beneficial to you and to the person that you're doing it with or to. I don't know.
Doing it
When you
with.
say you're doing it to them.
It didn't come out quite so right. I think I'm not sure about that, but there's something about the way you said that.
I'm gonna be nice to you.
Okay.
You just wait.
Well, before we go any further with this, I want to point out again that if you would like to join in on our conversation tonight and you're watching on Thursday, June the 11th, we are live and you can call in right now, 951-356-6882. That is the number. I'm a little disappointed. We actually haven't had a telephone call tonight. Apparently, nobody wants to talk to us. I wonder.
Chevelle's jumping in on the chat.
Why doesn't he just call? I don't understand why he just wants to send things on the chat and not call.
Yeah. He's saying it fell out of fashion in the 80s, like your music.
What fell out of fashion? Calling? Or was he talking about
the
common
whole
courtesy? Oh,
thing.
yeah. Well, that's right up there with common sense, because apparently there isn't a whole lot of that either. I'm just saying, maybe I'm trying to see if I can get somebody angry enough to actually call 951-356-6882. Hint, hint. Somebody, should call the number. But anyway, yeah,
should we talk about the COVID? That'll get people to call. Have you seen some of these most recent numbers?
No, but please enlighten me, because I've been so busy following the protests. The COVID thing actually fell off the radar for a little while.
Yeah, there was an update just today. Health officials report 1,857 new cases of coronavirus in Los Angeles County.
Wow.
So, but there's some caveat on here about there being 600 of those were backlogged test results. What does that mean?
Backlogged. So yeah, that could have gone back to like the first days of the infection.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I was purely speculating that's what they were talking about with the backlog. I could be way off on that one. I don't know.
So now they're bringing our grand totals up to 68,875 cases of COVID-19 identified in Los Angeles County. That means 202,813 deaths. Health officials say that 93% of people who have died had underlying health conditions.
Huh. And
I
yet
mean,
they're opening up businesses left and right. They're opening up restaurants. About the only thing that's not happening right now is evidently what are those two major concerts that happen? Coachella, I think, was one of them, and something else. Those have all finally been canceled. But even Disneyland is planning to open. I guess you'll have to make reservations 2 years in advance, but you're going to be able to go back to Disneyland. I'm not going to go. I don't want to be near that many people, at least not until they come up with a vaccine, which, by the way, there are a couple of human trials that are slated to begin, actually 3, in the coming months. I think one begins in July, the next one in August, and one in September. And one of the major pharmaceutical companies claims that they've already had very good success with tests that they have run, evidently in another country, where they don't have to go through the hoops that they got to jump through in order to do human clinical trials here.
so Germany.
Oh, wow. You do realize that we are, it is possible to watch this show outside the confines of the United States of America. You know that, right, Todd?
Oh no, it doesn't get this signal doesn't get past the Berlin Wall, right?
Wow, really?
I've got balls of steel.
So,
CJ's jumping in. He says,
you wanna
they got all these test results. He
if you
must
wanna
be
send-
referring to those backlogs. He says it means they need an excuse for you to stay home.
You can send hate mail for the Germany jokes to at Todd Fluker there on the Twitter, just in
Yeah,
case
go ahead
you.
and tweet me. But man, yeah, I've been seeing lots of information about businesses opening back up. I so rarely go out to get anything to eat, but I did go and get.
What? You were the king of fast food back in the day. What do you mean you don't go out and get stuff to eat anymore?
Not anymore. I got food at home now that I'm paying all the bills. As it turns out, Mom was right. We got food at home.
That's a good one. I like that. Turns out Mom was right. If only we had a lower third for that one. Turns out Mom was right.
So yeah, I stopped by one night to grab some burritos, and yeah, I was surprised that the place was open. They had some safety measures in place, like they had like these weird like plastic visqueen barriers or something between the tables or something
I'm sorry,
like
did
that.
you say Visqueen?
I don't know, something. They were trying to, put little barriers between the tables, I guess. Like like how there used to be a smoking section and non-smoking section.
Uh-huh. Now
You
there's
know,
a COVID
the
section and a
smoke just
non-COVID
knew.
section.
Yeah, the smoke just knew not to go to this section. That's how it worked, Joe.
Uh,
So I think the COVID, knows not to go around the visqueen.
well, I mean, I, in all honesty, I don't feel comfortable merging into the mass public yet. It's not that I totally relish the idea of sequestering myself at home from now until the end of the year, but I also don't really like dying, and I don't know. I'm not sure that people are taking this seriously. There are still protesters who are complaining about having to continue to wear the masks. And again, it goes right back to it's all about me. Let's not worry about what anybody else might encounter. It doesn't matter that I might infect somebody else. I just don't want to have to be burdened with wearing this mask, and I shouldn't be burdened with wearing this mask. So I'm going to send death threats to the local health officials until they take away this requirement that I wear a mask. I mean, have you heard about a couple of these local health officials that have actually resigned their posts for fear, in fear of their family's safety?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, various cities around Southern California where this has happened now because people don't want to have to wear the mask anymore.
Oh. Yeah, why is that such a big deal?
Apparently it messes up their tan lines or something. I don't know.
That seems a bit crazy, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are people who didn't take it seriously from the start, and they went all the way through this whole thing not taking it seriously. But I mean, it certainly is a good thing that they're opening things back up. Hopefully it'll lessen the economic crash that I keep hearing people talk about that is inevitably going to come.
Well, and it's interesting. I had wanted to talk about this last week. I don't think we really got a chance to do it, but there has been an argument made, and maybe CJ even brought this up, that some of the looting that took place, which clearly was not directly connected to the protests over George Floyd, but followed immediately on the heels when they knew the police were overwhelmed or not in the vicinity, it was really brought on by people that have been hurting for so long because of the economic shutdown that was the result of all the sequestration for COVID, that these opportunists then ran out to try and make a fast buck.
Velcro's jumping in the chat saying cops are the rioters and looters.
Speaking of cops, and going back to the topic earlier, that got canceled. Did you hear about that? That show's now gone.
Cops got canceled.
I mean, and apparently it's because what? The cops were portrayed in a positive light on that show, so we need to get rid of it? I don't understand where that one went.
Yeah, I saw another story I read about was there's one of those farcical news websites called the Hard Times, and they published a story saying that just after the cops got canceled thing, they said now the the policeman was kicked out of the Village People.
That's a good one. I like that.
They actually got like a cease and desist or remove order from the band.
Oh,
this is not true. We did not kick out the cop.
Oh, wait. Where's
You're like, yeah, that's like coming at the Onion saying, "Oh yeah, your headline is a little misleading." Hey, that's the whole point, bro.
Oh no, I had not heard that one at all, Todd. I love that. That is hilarious.
That is hilarious. But man, I was just reading an article about this economic catastrophe, and they're saying how, if you think it's bad now, wait for August, because that's when a lot of these, layovers or layoffs. What do you call that?
Furloughs?
Furloughs, yes.
Okay.
The furloughs, not on most, student loans, on rent, on other things, on the unemployment benefit that a lot of people were getting, apparently.
Okay.
That all that stuff is going to run out, and this is all going to hit hard when, when these companies are going to say, hey, we furloughed you for 6 months like we said we would, and guess what? Now we gonna need that money. But yeah, it's still 1 in 4 people don't have a job, so where that money gonna come from?
And what about the dire predictions that as the winter approaches, we will see an upswing in infections again as the virus begins to surge again? That's been this possibility that they've been talking about for some time, something that we need to be concerned about. And of course, now with all of the protesting and the social distancing having gone right out the window as a result of that, and perhaps, as some have said, the premature reopening of everything, we may actually be putting ourselves on track to see a massive upswing in infections again, at which point they do what? Shut everything down again?
I mean, they're going to have to start taking the president's, suggestions and shoot light up people's buttholes.
Oh.
What the hell are you talking about?
The sunlight apparently kills it. And then you top that off with a bleach cocktail and you're good to go.
Wasn't it you who, after the show, we didn't run this on the show, but wasn't it you who was talking about this very hilarious sketch that was put on one of the social media sites where they were talking about the CEOs of Tide basically saying, no, you can't eat our products, you can't drink our products, you can't inject them.
Yeah, where the Tide CEO is coming up with, is showing off the new Tide products, and there's the Tide cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah. Because apparently you're supposed to, our president told everybody, yeah, you should just take some bleach.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean-
it really did. It really did happen.
He makes a lot of good points. And Velcro's jumping in. He says, I call 1 million dead in America by October 1st. Wow, that's a way to bring us down there, Velcro.
Yeah, seriously, that's a really nice rosy prediction. I want to know who Velcro is.
What if that does happen? I mean, they're talking about when these furloughs are over, they're not really planning on replacing them with anything. Are people going to get thrown out in the streets in the winter?
So then the question is,
and then that could, if people are massing in homeless encampments, which seem to be all the rage nowadays, yeah, is that going to just be, Dr. Drew was talking about this before this whole COVID thing, that those homeless encampments were hotbeds for diseases. They were saying the plague was going to make a comeback, and what were they talking about? It wasn't like Hep C, it was something in particular. They were saying there was like a huge upsurge in LA and it was going to overtake the whole city. But man, God forbid that happens, but
I'm wondering about these
could.
million deaths that have been predicted. Is that all just going to be COVID, or is that going to be people who start throwing themselves out of windows and off of, roofs like in the Great Depression because, nobody can afford anything anymore?
Yeah.
I actually made Todd speechless. What happened there, Todd? You stopped talking altogether.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I want to say that sounds ludicrous, but so do a lot of things that are happening nowadays.
Yeah, that's boy, we way to go. We really brought this down. I don't know. I'm feeling so low right now.
We're really ending on a real downer.
Well,
this is terrible.
Tell us something funny, Todd. Come on. I know you're always researching all kinds of pointless stuff. You were talking about it before we went on the show. So why don't you share some of that pointless stuff with us now? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Oh, jeez. I didn't. Ghost Adventures?
What? Ghost Adventures? What are you talking about?
Ghost Adventures is trending on Twitter.
What is Ghost Adventures? You're gonna have to tell me about this one.
It looks like it might be the new. Is this the new? What was that? Tiger King?
Oh.
Is there a new show called Ghost Adventurers?
Oh,
That's
see.
apparently like the new hotness after people got tired of Tiger King. Did you ever watch Tiger King?
No, I never watched Tiger King.
You never
and
watched any Tiger King?
I don't feel like I missed anything at all. No, I never ever watched Tiger King. Except that I understand that the show is over because he got arrested or something like that. Wasn't that the case?
That was the whole premise of the whole show. Was you knew from the jump that was the idea of the show. Was this guy was breeding big cats, and he had this kind of blood feud with this woman who was like saying, breeding big cats was bad, even though she has a big cat sanctuary that she makes all her money off of in Florida or whatever. And yeah, it's a whole thing, and he hires somebody to kill her and he goes to jail. And so that's kind of the story from the jump.
All right,
You
well,
know that.
we so totally got to get out of here now. That's it for us. Around midnight, we will catch you next Thursday night. Thanks for watching the show. For myself, Joe Carbonetta, Todd Fluker, and Chevelle Devine, who was not here today. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay mixified. We will see you next week.